What's going on, folks? Good to see you again. Number 5, though I'm gonna stop counting because I'm just gonna probably keep doing these. Nerding Out on the Creek, back at you. Coach Jack here. And we're gonna talk about these 2 words that I keep throwing around and interchange them. Almost like Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. That's inconceivable in the movie. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it, you don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, scaling versus modifying. So we throw that around all the time. Say scale, modify, scale, modify. Oh, we can infinitely scalable. Oh, we'll modify this for you. When we use them, oftentimes as coaches, as athletes, as CrossFitters, we use them interchangeably, but they're not supposed to be used interchangeably. They mean 2 distinctly different things in a CrossFit context. They connotate kind of the same thing, which is I've got an athlete that can't do a movement, so I try to come up with a way that the athlete can still do the movement and stay in the class. However, how I accomplish that, I'm either going to scale a movement or modify a movement for that athlete. And even in saying that, it's kind of wrong because you can't really scale a movement. What you can do is scale the intensity of a movement through the volume, through the load, or even through the difficulty of it. If I'm gonna modify a movement, now we're talking about something totally different. So what I did was I kind of wrote like a little chart here, and I've got scaling, and modifying. Let's talk about why we would do either of these. In the end, a workout is all about the stimulus. I want to get the same stimulus for each athlete, regardless of their athletic capability when they walk in the door, regardless of their experience in CrossFit. I want Fran to feel like Fran no matter what the person has done in the past. 21, 15, 9, thrusters, pull-ups, 3-ish to 5-ish minutes, maybe as long as 7. If you're moving really well, maybe you're down in that 2-minute mark. You do that, you're gonna know what Fran feels like. What did we just talk about? We talked about the stimulus of the workout. Stimulus means either time domain, load, or difficulty/volume. So in that idea, I can scale Fran if the person can do thrusters. They can take a barbell down to the bottom of the squat, stand up, push it overhead, and they can hang onto a bar and go up and down. Then I can scale the movement with a PVC pipe. I can scale the pull-up with a box. They jump up and down. I can throw them in a band. I can scale the difficulty of the movement with either volume, load, or difficulty of the movement. And as long as they're moving through those 3 rounds, decreasing reps at about 3 to 5 minutes, they've hit the stimulus. So when we say, I'm gonna modify this for you, what are we talking about? Well, let's say the person doesn't have a leg. Let's say they broke their ankle. Let's say they can't press overhead. Now I'm talking about modification. So maybe I just have them do a goblet squat. That's a modification for the thruster. Maybe they can't dangle from a bar, so I have them do ring rows. That's a modification from a pull-up. Modification, optimally, we wanna stay in the modality, and that's where we switch. So both are intended to try and keep the stimulus, scale and modify. But if I can't stay in that modality, meaning it's a gymnastics, monostructural, or weightlifting, then I gotta start thinking about modify. But I gotta ask myself the question, if I modify that movement and I stay inside that modality or I have to change that modality, do I still get the same stimulus? And today's workout, which was our take on the games workout, swim and stuff, is a perfect example where we're talking about modification. I don't have a pool. I got a stream out here, but I don't want my athletes to get giardia and sick. So we did ski erg. I don't have an assault bike. I got an echo bike. I think the echo bike's better. We didn't want to use GHD, so we used straight leg sit-ups. And we used kettlebell swings instead of the slam balls, because I hate slam balls because they break. So we modified the heck out of it, but every athlete still moved somewhere between a minute 50 to 2:15 a round. We did 4 rounds. We scaled the reps and the volume. I scaled how long the working windows were as we kind of figured out like what worked out best for classes. all to drive everyone to the right stimulus. So scaling and modifications are two distinctly things. Both of them share the goal of getting the stimulus the same, but we got to think about, when I modify something, am I modifying it for an obstacle that the athlete might have? Am I modifying it because I have equipment limitations? Or am I modifying it when I actually mean I'm trying to scale it for volume, load, or difficulty? So think about it. Words matter. See you on the creek.